here. And we are live. Hello, everybody. Hello, all my followers. We are here at home in our home offices today. I am joined by Rick Taylor from Konica Minolta, President and CEO of Konica Minolta USA. And Rick, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
You bet, Andy. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Even though it is a little early in the morning here in the West Coast, I appreciate you. I'm up and ready to go. So thanks for doing this.
You're welcome. I appreciate you coming, and just wanted to find out what's happening with Konica Minolta. It's just it's a different age, a different era. We all woke up 2 weeks ago, and a lot of hard changes are coming, a lot of difficult times that we've all been through already. So how's Konica Minolta weathering the storm so far?
We're certainly in uncharted waters. This is nothing that I've ever been through, or I think anybody's really been through this and anything like this in a long time. And so we're playing the cards that we've been dealt almost hourly. And so far, honestly, so good. I think we're keeping people healthy, which is our first order of business. We've had one confirmed case out of 8,000 people. It was in Ramsey, New Jersey, our headquarters, but we've had one case. And other than that, we've got people that are healthy, and in this sort of week 2, everybody's pretty much sequestered at home. 5 or 6 or 7 states by law, and the rest probably by how we're trying to do business. And so honestly, so far, considering the circumstances, so good.
Well, that's good. Looks like you're going to be grounded out in California for a little while, I'm guessing. And I know it's probably not snowing there like it is here in Rochester. Happy spring today. But how have you been finding managing everybody, keeping in touch with everybody, collaborating? Just how do you keep the troops moving forward, keep their heads in the right places? What are you doing to just keep the engine running?
Yeah, I think the thing we've tried to do most is communicate. So I've made a series of videos, and they've been handheld iPhone videos wherever I am. Sometimes I've gone into the West Region office in this period, and a lot of times from my home somewhere. And it's handheld iPhone videos, unscripted, and we're just communicating the current situation, mostly about employees' situations and also about the business. And I think that's been very helpful. So we've had a lot of written communication and some video communication. That's been helpful. We meet, we have sort of a coronavirus committee, if you will, crisis committee, that meets every day at 9 o'clock East Coast time, with about, I think, 30 people involved in that from all of our disciplines. We have teams that handle pieces of the business and report in, and countries. So I hear about Canada and Mexico, which we're responsible for, Latin America. And then, I have a smaller meeting, really it's ad hoc, maybe once a day, maybe 3 times a day, with a smaller group of executives that handle different functional areas and really respond to things up to the minute. So, in the last 2 weeks, as states have changed their executive orders to shut down the state. So California first, and followed by Illinois and New Jersey now, and New York. And first it was San Francisco and Philadelphia, and we dealt with that. And then then it expanded, and a couple people started to be sequestered. Orange County, California, where I am, and Bergen County, New Jersey, where our home office is, both had an executive order come out and then rescinded it a day later. So we've been just reacting to the circumstances, but really, focusing on the health of our people and taking care of our customers. Because someday we get out of this, right? Someday we come out the back end. And by the way, if you can tell me when that is, Andy, I'd really appreciate it, because I've got a lot of data and a lot of experts, and no one seems to agree. So that would be
I would love to tell you.
With your vast knowledge and your access to data and industries, I'm hoping that before this call's over, you'll tell me exactly when we'll come out of this, because that'd be really helpful. But not in all seriousness, not knowing.
Well, we've got a team on it. We've got a team on it.
Yeah, not knowing that, we've got to plan for whatever comes our way. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to accomplish.
So you mentioned your customers, right? So we've got what I would call 2 groups of customers. You've got the end users, who some of them are extremely important to what's going on and helping us get through this and get out of it. Healthcare is essential right now, and Konica Minolta branches obviously have, I'm sure, plenty of healthcare customers, but Konica Minolta dealers, and some of your dealers are some of the biggest dealers, and they're all in IT, they're all into healthcare, they're all in, so has there been anything that you've been able to do? Are you working with the dealers to What are their needs and what are you doing for them right now? It's got to be all over the place.
It's a good question, Andy. So lots of communication. Personally, me, one-on-one with the dealers, that I get in touch with everybody. I'm open. It's 7 o'clock here, but I'm open, early. As an example, my good friend Larry Weiss at Atlantic phoned me at 4:45 a.m. this weekend to tell me that there was a clip of a Konica Minolta piece of equipment that was key to a scene on Homeland in season 8, and he thought it was important to tell me about that at 4:45 a.m. And that he was going to use the clip, and he had sent me to use the clip and some. So I was very. But the fact of the matter is, it's kind of a 5 a.m. start time for me, and then on the West Coast, and then Tokyo cranks up about 4 p.m. So I get to work the Tokyo shift because I am an executive officer there. So around 3 p.m. West Coast time in the afternoon, 6 p.m. your time, and before 4 p.m. I have about an hour to really have some coffee and relax, and then we crank up again. But your question is about the dealers. So, the first thing we can do for the dealers, and a huge priority for me, is to try to keep everybody employed at Konica Minolta. Our biggest assets are not just our great products, which I think we have an unbelievably full line of products from, high-end industrial print to low-end segment, 1 and 2 and A4. And so that's great. Keeping that supply chain going has been challenging, and we have full availability of inventory this month, and between China factory closures and Malaysia factory closures, et cetera, it's been a challenge, but we have full availability of inventory as of now, and looks good through the first quarter. If we're lucky, we have had to air freight some things, so keep availability of inventory, but also keep our people, here. We've done an unbelievable job, I think, of hiring really high-end, IT-oriented, very skilled workforce that support the dealers. 1,000 people in all covered, and people in ECM, and a lot of the services that we've been selling for a long time, but have become almost mission critical now as people, did what our tagline says. Work is not where you are, work is what you get done. Pretty intuitive tagline, because now it's not where you are. It's your home. It's your, wherever you are is where work is. And so to support the dealers in their sales efforts, and to support those new technologies that are really being utilized, we have to have our workforce intact. So to date, we haven't laid anybody off. And, my goal, if I can achieve it, is to not lay anybody off during this crisis. That would be an absolute home run for us. And it's difficult with what's happening with print volume, et cetera. But keeping those people available for the dealers to conduct whatever business is available is a kind of a key goal. And so far, so good. We're all here. We're working full hours. The issue that you think about is, part-time employees or non-exempts, as we talk, who are hourly. And, if San Francisco shuts down like it did first, hourly employees, in many cases can't work. They're not going in. And we can respond to, as you talked about, emergency critical industries, and that certainly covers healthcare and doctors, but also support industries. And I think we're critical because of our giant healthcare business that we have throughout the U.S. And so we decided early on to keep those people on board. And one of my, I think, popular videos was when I told the non-exempt workforce that I was considering them on call, and that they should turn in their full hours in the week and be paid accordingly. That was a popular decision. And that's how we've handled it so far. So we are on call. And although the call volume's down, we're on call for the dealers. We're on call for the certainly the end user customers. And I would say vastly expanded hours in terms of the exempt population that are just salaried. We have a very, the point I would make, Andy, is try to catch us asleep. It's hard because we're just up
well,
working,
I love all the stuff you've been doing, and the fact that you are so committed to trying to keep all the employees right now, especially with the hammer that dropped yesterday, just tens and tens of thousands of people getting cut in other industries, and hopefully we can stave that off as long as possible. I appreciate, and I'm sure all your people appreciate all you're doing to try not to go down that path. Certainly, our industry may not be the most heralded industry in the world, but we are data, we are print, we are critical for healthcare and hospitals to keep them running, to help let them do what they need to do and not worry about the technology. So what you guys are doing is super important, I think, to everybody, not just you, but all you, your competitors, us as an industry. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me and chat with me this morning. And, we'll check in with you in a week or two and see how things are going. Hopefully we'll have some improvements and some better news to talk about. If not, we'll talk about how you're rolling with it and what you're doing to get by at that point. But thank you so much for spending some time with me, Rick.
Let me say one thing, Andy, before you get off of that. I just want to say, you mentioned that, we're not the most heralded industry and we're print, et cetera. And I'll tell you that for our company and for the dealers who have listened to us for the last, since we bought All Covered 10 years ago, and certainly hard the last 5 years, they've moved into industries. And unfortunately, dealers are small businesses. That's just how they're categorized. And they've had to make more aggressive moves to maybe furlough some people that they're going to bring back when times change. And so we have to step into their shoes in some cases. But what we're doing at hospitals with technology, we've got robotics cameras and they have thermal imaging so that they can see somebody that walks in with the temperature before they infect the rest of the hospital. And we've done.
Oh, wow. I didn't think of that.
We've got robotics robots that have been deployed in medical centers where they have the over 65 doctors have been sent home. We're now selling our demo room or providing, in fact, in some cases, our demo room robots to go in and do patient visits while the doctors remotely with the robotics, the robots that we have available to do that. So, and the help desk technology, we were able to move all of our dispatching stuff to our global support center in Phoenix that had 500 people in it, before this, and now 500 people immediately scattered locally because we've used our own technology, right? We've been a Google house for a long time, and we've been able to disperse in Ramsey. We dispersed the Ramsey employees because that's where the outbreak was in a matter of hours, and everybody was up and running. So, 900 people went home and they were up and running into the system and available to have all of our documents on Google Drive. And really, we've been ultra prepared for this, not because we thought a pandemic would come, but we know that business is changing and this remote style workforce and work anywhere is needed. So we enabled our own company to do that. So, that kind of change in technology is having people view us differently. I had the president of a local hospital, the president, sent me an email that said that we need this technology, referenced the camera technology that he was, it buttered up through his system to the president and said, we're on lockdown, we're doing things, but that technology to identify people walking in with a temperature before they interact with anybody else so things are changing now, and they're not going to go back, right? They're not going to go back to where we were. Yeah. We're not going to be a break-fix print provider. And, those investments that we've made for a long time have been pushing that have just eked out. The dealers get into IT service, and our help desk has been inundated with calls. Our voice over IP, unified communications. We have a telemarketing group in Chicago that gets about 100 leads a month. They had 785 leads in the first 2 weeks of this month, because if you're on that kind of telephony that we have widespread available, your number just moves. It just ports, and you're in business with your normal number and whatever, and the hardware's in the cloud. So those kinds of things have been really, and I'm only commenting before you leave, the times are changing. We're not, I don't know what you called us, and you didn't mean to be, you weren't being pejorative. You were just saying the print industry may not be the most, well, now we're becoming the most glamorous industry, because when you're keeping hospitals up and running like this, because you have the technology of the future, today, it's been keeping us very motivated and positive coming out of this. And I can't hire these bright IT people that we've got on board, and people for ECM and telephony and all these specialties that we've got on board, and are unbelievably trained break-fix groups now that do different things, right? They do all kinds of networking. I got to keep those people, and I got to keep them. I think, they're here at the end for our dealers, and to get them up and running and get their customers up and running, and for our customers at the end. I mean, I see a very bright future when we get to the end. And it, again, if you can tell me when, I'd appreciate it. It's my biggest concern.
I'm working on it.
And I got my own bets.
I'm working it.
And I'll tell you, it's lonely, because I got to decide. Everybody gives me their opinion, then I get to decide. So it's a little lonely up here. So if you can help me, I'd appreciate it. But I didn't want to let you leave without, telling you that the business is changing and much for the better, in my opinion. And so I want dealers, I want employees to be really cognizant of, how things are moving and where we'll be when we come out of this. And it'll be in a very strong position. If we keep everybody employed, we're at full strength. There'll be this pent up demand. We're going to go on offense in terms of sales. We've been training remotely, 1,000 people at a time, how to sell remotely. And so things are really moving in this time, and a lot of positive. Please turn on the TV and listen to every negative possibility that you can. I've tried to avoid as much TV as I can because it's just all negative. And there is going to be some light at the end of this tunnel, if you will, and it's not going to be a train. It's going to be opportunity, and we're excited about that. So again, thanks for the time, and I'll keep in touch.
Well, thank you so much. This has been awesome, and I'm encouraged by all that stuff you just said, and you're right. It is it's tough. You see the doom and gloom news every day, and to get out of bed and to think what difference am I going to make today? What am I going to do to impact? What am I going to do to help? The kinds of things that we can do as an industry, and the technology that you were just talking about that is helping us as a society get through this is awesome. And I appreciate everything you guys are doing. And thank you again for chatting with me this morning.
We need you fired up. Get fired up. We need you fired up.
You got it.
All right, buddy.
You
keep
got
it coming.
All right,
Thanks,
sir. Well, I'll let you get back to it, and I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. You're the best.
Thank you, Rick.
Bye-bye.